What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about the WNBA 2027 expectations. It should be a good one. Now, the season does commence May 8th, 2026. That is a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. And this will be the 30th season for the WNBA. Excuse me. Now, the show's called Get a Bucket, right? So we're going to talk about the WNBA standings. Because when I was looking at some of these teams, I was enamored by some of the players that they have. A lot of them can get a bucket, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of them can get a bucket. Let's talk about it. I'm going to start it off with my contenders. It's a few of them that we need to talk about. Now, I'm going to say this right off the break. Bro, the Liberty, they might be cheating. Oh my God, they might be cheating. This is easily, hands down, and argue with your mama, the best team in the WNBA. Boasting Sabrina Ionescu, Leonie Phoebus, Brianna Stewart, Satu Sabally, and Jonquel Jones. I'm having a hard time figuring out if they got a big three or a big four. Like, this is disgusting work. The addition of Satu Sabally, Sabrina Ionescu's Oregon teammate when they won a championship. Champions. Y'all smell that? It smells like some championship air. You know what I'm saying? All of them can get a bucket. And all of them can be decent defenders. Like Jonquel Jones, decent defender. Satu Sabally, decent defender. Brianna Stewart, decent defender. Leonie Phoebus, all WNBA caliber defender. Like, bro, even Sabrina can move them puppies a little bit. They are smooth. But then when you think about it, Natasha Cloud, Maureen Johannes, Benaje Laney Hamilton, Rebecca Gardner, and Emma Meeseman. That's a team. Like, that second unit alone could battle most teams in most first option teams. Just to be honest. So the depth is the best in the WNBA. Here's the thing. I said the same thing last season, and they lost in the first round to the Phoenix Mercury. So there is a world where they do lose, even though I view them as the best team. I thought they were the best team last year. They had tremendous depth. But adding Satu Sabally might take them over the top, honestly. But we're going to find out. Because there are other teams who can battle them. But like I said, they have a bunch of people who can get a bucket and defend. Like, it is going to be a ridiculous season for and they have a treasure trove of players. Yeah, it's going to be a ridiculous season. Another team as a contender, the Las Vegas Aces. They are defending champs, so I think it's fair to call them contenders, right? Like, they at least are defending their championships. They got Chelsea Gray, Dana Evans, Jackie Young, Alyssa Smith, and Asia Wilson. By the way, these are my starters, by the way. These are who I'm thinking are going to be the starters. And we already know the big three in Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Asia Wilson. But also bringing Jewel Lloyd off the bench with Breonna Turner, Kirsten Bell, and Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. They might not be as deep as the Liberty, but they do have the cohesion that the Liberty are still trying to get. Now, the Liberty got some cohesion last year, but adding someone like a Satu Sabally, that does probably take a little time to integrate. So again, shouldn't take but that long, right? But the Aces do have their roles defined and carved out. So when we're talking about contending, right? Again, they are defending champs. So we expect them to do what they did last season, at least get far. But who knows? Because they could lose in the first round, just like the Liberty did last year. But I would love to see Liberty versus Aces in the finals yet again. That would be a good one. These two teams, I got a question. The next ones I'm about to mention. The Minnesota Lynx and the Atlanta Dream. Okay? They're kind of both teams are chasing the Liberty and Aces. The Lynx, I'm wondering, do they take a step back? Because I'm still trying to figure out who should their starters be. They lost their defensive anchors on, like, you know what I'm saying? They lost like an Alana Smith. Bridget Carrollton ended up getting taken through the expansion draft. Like, we get all that. But they did get Olivia Miles, which allows this team to either bring her as the sixth woman or make Courtney Williams their perennial sixth woman, which I love seeing Courtney Williams as a sixth woman. So they have their roles defined too. They have the chemistry. Depth would be a concern of mine, especially when you lose someone like Natisha Heidemann. I wish they had kept her, because that would have been nice having the stud buds off the bench. I think, again, team morale, chemistry elevates. But again, ladies and gentlemen, the Lynx, I am curious, do they take a step back? Now, the Dream looked decent last season, right? Do they make a jump or do they regress? Now, I talked about the Lynx taking a step back, and they still have Nafisa Collier who can potentially get them to the thick of things. She can help vault them to the championship ranks. They have a Natasha Howard who they just acquired, who is a very underrated signing. Love Tosh, good player, versatile defender, can get a bucket, all that good stuff. Well, the Dream also have a talented Howard themselves. And Ryan Howard is no slouch, ladies and gentlemen. She could even be an MVP caliber player. I think she is. Alicia Gray showed last season she can be an MVP caliber player. But they also have Jordan Canada. They got Naz Hillman, who is the 6th Woman of the Year last year. I think maybe she could be brought up to the starting unit. And they just acquired Angel Reese. Ladies and gentlemen, does the Atlanta Dream have just a dynamic duo, or do they have a big three? And Angel Reese's development will play a huge part in that. We already know she can lead the league in rebounding. We know that. But if that skill comes along, which it was starting to do last season, she was bringing up the ball, she was taking more threes, taking more jump shots. Cool. The Atlanta Dream might be able to make some noise, but we got to see what happens. Because, again, I told you, the Aces and Liberty have tremendous depth. And the Dream still got to figure that out, the depth part. I love Tahina Pau. Brianna Jones, former 6th Woman of the Year caliber player, right? We get that. Do they have sufficient bigs and do they have sufficient depth? That's what we got to figure out, ladies and gentlemen. But those are my teams right now that I'm viewing as contenders. 2 of them legitimate, and then 2 of them I have some questions. Now, the next grouping, we got the Mystics, we got the Sparks, we got the Fever, and we have the Mercury. The Mystics, is their youth ready? They had the best drafts over the last 2 seasons that I've seen in quite some time. And their youth, we've seen 3 of them get to the all-star ranks. Shakira Austin has all-star talent, and she just got an extension. So we're going to be waiting to see what this Mystics team does. But I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go watch some games myself. Like, this should be a good one. We just got to see how the cohesion does during the season. But a young, talented team like the Mystics, I don't expect them to win a championship. But could they surprise any one of the teams that I listed off above? It'd be questionable about Liberty, maybe questionable about the Aces. The Lynx, it could be interesting. I'd lean Lynx, but it could be interesting. The Dream, I'd lean Dream, but that would be interesting. Again, they're kind of closer in age. So I would love to see that matchup. That could be a solid first-round matchup for any team, and it'd be a scary one. Same thing with my Sparks. We got to figure out if our trades were worth it. We got Kelsey Plum, Ariel Atkins, Neko Gumake, Cameron Brink, Dearica Hamby. But we ended up trading away Rickea Jackson, who I was today years old when I found out that Rickea Jackson apparently was in the MVP discussions last season. I missed that. I genuinely missed that moment. And she was all right, don't get me wrong. MVP? Even if she was tied for 9th, I don't know. But we've made some trades over the last couple seasons where we got to start hitting now. Like, we cannot miss the playoffs again. Can't. We have no reason to do so. And our depth, I think our depth is decent. We got Julie Van Loo, Ray Burrell, Emma Cannon. It's decent, for sure. Is it going to take us over the top? We got to wait to see. But this is a versatile team who, again, if we're looking at the Liberty, the Aces, the Lynx, the Dream, could we beat these teams? That may be a little tough to say. But could we at least make it entertaining? I think so. Like, we could potentially beat the Dream. The Lynx, I think we actually match up well with decently. The Aces, because we got a little chip on our shoulder with Kelsey Plum and Dearica Hamby, maybe we do something there. The Liberty, I think we getting belt to tailed. I ain't gonna lie to you. But, again, we would still be competitive. How about the Fever? Because we got to talk about their contention status. Should we vault them up? We saw what they did last year. They played pretty well. How's their big 3 going to do now? Are we going to be healthy? I'm looking at a player like Aaliyah Boston to be more in the MVP discussions. She was just there last season. Caitlin Clark coming back. Well, we just saw that Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston should be their 1 and 2. Caitlin can be their 3rd option, and that's okay. Yes, she's talented, but you got other players who can play alongside her to help elevate her own play. Now I'm looking at players like Sophie Cunningham and Maisha Hines-Allen to round out the starters. They have solid depth. It's just not as good as it was last season. But again, ladies and gentlemen, the Indiana Fever, I think they do have the potential to make some noise this season. We just got to wait and see what it looks like. Because again, their big three, we still haven't seen their big three play a quality season together. Yes, the first season was interesting, right? But you had some hiccups. That was Caitlin Clark's first season. Now there's a little bit more experience. Let's go ahead and see what this team can look like going forward. And keep in mind, too, Kelsey Mitchell was averaging 20 last season. Aaliyah Boston was the MVP consideration. So Caitlin Clark doesn't have to do a bunch. She just has to play her game. And I don't want to hear the Caitlin Clark stands talking about, she's the best player on the team, because for the last couple of seasons now, Aaliyah Boston has been winning the win share race over a player like Caitlin Clark. So I think we got to point that out. And again, Kelsey Mitchell has been called one of the hardest players to guard in the WNBA. She can get a bucket. So ladies and gentlemen, the Fever, I'm worrying about their contention status. Could they beat the Liberty? I think they actually do kind of stack up okay against them. The Aces, I think they actually lose that one. The Lynx, that could be interesting. I think the Lynx would win that one, actually, depending on how their team forms. And then the Dream, that would be an interesting game, actually. I'm not going to lie to you all, ladies and gentlemen, but I think the Dream do want to get some get back against the Indiana Fever. And then the Phoenix Mercury. We got to ask, do they have enough? Because, all right, we got Monique Okoa Makani, Kalia Copper, Dewana Bonner, Catherine Westbeld, and Alyssa Thomas. Alyssa Thomas is usually in the MVP discussions. We know Kalia Copper is a versatile elite two-way player, and then we know who Dewana Bonner is. All right. Do they have a dynamic duo or a big three? Because they ended up losing Satu Sabali, who is now on the New York Liberty. And let's not forget, the Mercury just beat Liberty in the playoffs last season. So the Liberty definitely have a chip on their shoulder, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this is going to be scary. Do the Mercury have enough depth? They got Sammy Whitcomb, Natasha Mack, and Kalani Brown. Good players. Are they going to be enough to help get you over the hump? I don't know. And then where are they going to find the shooting? Because the Mercury going to need some shooting. Now, Dewana Bonner can shoot. Kalia Copper can shoot a little bit. Alyssa Thomas, she going to need shooters around her. That's why I got Catherine Westbeld and Monique Okoa Makani. Because last season as a rookie, she did pretty well. Could they make the playoffs? I think because you have Alyssa Thomas on your team, yes, you should be able to make the playoffs. How do they stack against the Mystics? Well, again, Alyssa, Dewana, Kalia, they could vault them over a team like the Mystics. I think their big three is probably a little bit more seasoned and experienced than the Mystics, so that could happen. I think we should lose to the Sparks, but again, they could beat the Sparks as well, too. They could, in fact, beat the Indiana Fever. Because, again, from a youth perspective, they can actually match up well with the Indiana Fever. But the depth, we would have question marks. But again, ladies and gentlemen, the Phoenix Mercury, they are my 8th team. And I'm expecting them, while to fight for that playoff contention, it could be a dicey one. Because this next grouping, you could consider, might be able to outclass the Mercury. And again, I'm talking about if everyone's healthy. I can't predict injuries, right? So the next groupings, we got the Golden State Valkyries. Ladies and gentlemen, they were in the playoffs just last season. Was last season the fluke season? We know who the starting unit is going to be. Veronica Burton, Tiffany Hayes, Kayla Thornton, Gabby Williams, Akia Stokes. That's a quality starting five, to be clear. And if some of their youngins can come along, I may be willing to put this Golden State Valkyries team a little bit ahead of some teams that I have listed. Like, that starting unit could beat the Mystics starting unit. It could rival my Sparks unit. It could beat or even rival the Indiana Fevers. And I think it could potentially beat the Phoenix Mercuries as well, too. It's the depth for me. And I actually put TBD for the depth because I'm genuinely waiting to see how they do. So if they could actually get their youngins to go along, watch out for the Valkyries. The Dallas Wings. Will there be trades looming? I talked about this last season. I thought Arike Ngumbawale would eventually get traded. Right now, the starting lineup would be Paige Beckers, Arike Ngumbawale, Maggie Seagrease, Jessica Shepard, and Alana Smith. And the bench would be J.J. Quinterly, AZ Fudd, Lee Yaru, and Awak Kuier. That has decent potential. Not going to lie to you. But I am curious how long Arike will be on this Dallas Wings team. If they can't get to the playoffs, I think the Wings are going to look to offload Enrique, maybe make a trade, get in a comparable player, and see what happens. Because I'm assuming at some point in time, the Wings are going to want to have Paige and AZ be the starting guards, being the backcourt for this team. So I'm still waiting to see, will trades loom over the Dallas Wings? Also, will there ever be any rifts, any tiffs between AZ and Paige? Because they look to be the future for the Dallas Wings. But we'll wait to see what happens, though. Because this season, it should be about figuring out what happens with Enrique. Now, we also got the Chicago Sky. Do they have a chip on their shoulder? Because you got Skylar Diggins-Smith, Dejanay Carrington, who always plays with a little chip on the shoulder, Rakia Jackson, who was just traded, and we got to think that was partly because of Kelsey Plum being acquired, us signing NECA. Like maybe Rakia feels some type of way. Then you got Azare Stevens as well, too, who left my Sparks, wanting another role, right? Playing alongside of Carmilla Cardoza. Hey, Azare can actually start letting out them threes. And Carmilla Cardoza, you're not playing alongside Angel Reese. And keep in mind, Angel Reese just said that while she appreciates the team and what they did, she did want more. She felt like this team was a little lackluster. Then you got players like Courtney Vandersloot, J.C. Sheldon, Gabriella Jaquez, who they just drafted, and Elizabeth Williams. Can we actually get over the hump? Is there going to be a chip on their shoulder, ladies and gentlemen? We'll wait to find out. But again, this Sky team could be very interesting. So let's pay attention to what the Sky are actually doing, shall we? Oh, and I forgot too. My bad. I gotta give some shout out to Courtney Vandersloot because I don't know how much longer she's gonna be playing. So shout out to Courtney. Hopefully the Sky do well. And again, Skylar Diggins returning back to the Sky. Yeah, they got a chip on their shoulder, ladies and gentlemen. But let's move on down to the Seattle Storm because we got a youth movement to talk about. And the closer they get to the playoffs is going to show me what their potential looks like. They got Erica Wheeler, Natisha Heidemann, Jordan Horston, Ezzie Magbagor, and Dominique Malonga. I think that's going to be the starting unit. And then you got Tiana Marr, Lexi Brown, Flau'jae Johnson, Katie Lou Samuelson, and Alwa Pham. Could they end up shifting some of these players around? Sure. But this would be my expectation based on who's starting, who has been here the longest. And Jordan Horston she's now going to get the opportunity to shine a little bit more, playing alongside NECA. That kind of takes away some of your game, right? Same with Gabby Williams when she was on the squad. So now Jordan gets the floor. So does Ezzie and Dominique. We get to see what they look like now. Erica Wheeler is a quality point guard, but starter. I don't know how much longer she's going to need to be a starter in the league, but she's a wonderful player for Tiana Marr to learn from. And then Flau'jae Johnson, being behind Natisha Heidemann, that's a player she can actually usurp eventually. But that's a quality player to battle up against. Because Natisha's no slouch, all right? She can get a bucket. So can Erica. So can Jordan. So can Ezzie. Dominique, I'm waiting to see how she pairs. Because will there be a time where the Storm can throw out Ezzie Magbagor, who's 6'4", Dominique Malonga, 6'6", and Alwa Pham, who's 6'4". Can they have enough versatility to have that large of a lineup? That'll be interesting to see. And then adding Flau'jae Johnson, if they can ever get to that world, the Storm will be spectacular. But until that time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm expecting them to be not at the very bottom of the barrel, but they'd be one of the worst teams. Not going to lie to you. And again, it's a youth movement. They just lost a bunch of players like Gabby Williams, Nneka Ogwumike, Skylar Diggins-Smith. That's a lot. They lost Jewel Lloyd the season before. They're going through a retool, a rebrand. So let's wait and see what happens. Now, the new teams, we got the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempos. Now, keep in mind, the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempos, unlike the Valkyries, I actually do expect them to be more so at the bottom of the barrel. All right, now keep in mind, the Tempos, they do have a chance to vault a little bit higher. Like, I could see them going past the Storm and the Sky. The Wings could be a little bit questionable. But I like the acquisition, and I'm talking about the Tempo, of Kiki Rice, because they just drafted her. Brittany Sykes, because y'all know how I talk about Brittany. I love Brittany. I'm not biased. She was on my Sparks, went to the Mystics, did her thing, helped the Mystics almost get, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were looking pretty spectacular. Now she's paired with Marina Mabry, Isabel Harrison, and Nyara Sabali. Can that team get the job done? If Brittany's still the star potential, the fringe star that I think she is, and I know she is, if Marina Mabrey can be consistent, I think this team looks stellar. Also, you got Julie Altman, Christy Wallace, Kia Nurse, Timmy Fagbenle. They have decent talent. It's just a matter of how can they get the cohesion started off. Remember, the Valkyries were into the playoffs just last year. So could we see another new team into the playoffs? I think that's going to be a little tough to ask. I genuinely do. But because of the acquisition of Brittany Sykes and Marina Mabrey during the expansion draft, I think it could be possible. I just wouldn't put no money on it, to be clear. Or if I do, I'm expecting to lose that bread. Now, the Portland Fire, I don't expect them to get there. They got Shook Sutton, Haley Jones, Emily Inkster, Bridget Carlton, Megan Gustafson, Carly Samuelson, and Maya Caldwell. Listen to me, all right? Decent talent. They don't have that star, that fringe all-star, or whatever the case may be, that you need to really get you into the thick of things, right? We're talking about the Valkyries last season. They had Veronica Burton was playing some good basketball. Tiffany Hayes playing some good basketball. Kayla Thornton playing good basketball. They had some good players across the team, and I don't see that caliber player on this team, ladies and gentlemen. So again, I think that the Fire could actually be a little bit lower, but we'll have to wait and see. Now the Sun, we got to wait and see about the Sun too. The Connecticut Sun. I'm trying to figure out what sense of direction are they going in. Don't get me wrong. They have some interesting pieces. I love the Tina Charles and Brittany Griner edition. I really, truly do. They can both get a bucket and defend. That's quality rim protection. You could start both, or you can bring one off the bench. I'm curious how they're going to go. But right now, I got Layla Lacan, Sanaya Rivers, Diamond Miller, Tina Charles, oh my gosh, and Brittany Griner as their starters. And then we got Nell Angloma, Gianna Neepkins, Anissa Morrow, Aaliyah Edwards, and Olivia Nelson-Adota. Look, they actually have quality talent. I just don't know if it's going to be enough right now. Like, could they be a little higher than the Tempo and Fire? I think so. Could they be higher than the Storm? I could see it. Could they eclipse the Chicago Sky? I don't know. The Wings? I don't know. Like, possible? Like, because again, if Tina and Brittany return back to form, cool. And if Diamond Miller shows up to be the player that I was at least thinking she could be, because remember, she went number 2 by the Lynx at one point in time. That could be a little interesting. Sanaya Rivers is a legitimate option on a team. Like, she's a quality player, bro. Quality player. Like, we can see her in the All-Star games at some point in time. And then Layla LeConte, hey, dog, she did pretty well last season. So I think they have a good backcourt. The front court solid. How does it all gel end of day? That's what I'm waiting to see. So again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have some good, interesting teams across the board. We got our contenders. We got our playoff contenders. And then we got our up-and-comers. But I'm curious, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about all 15 teams? Who are you favoring to win this up-and-coming season? I already told y'all right now, the New York Liberty are the best team. Like, they are the best team without question, hands down, easy peasy, argue with your mama. I get why you might want to say, well, they're aces because they're defending champions. I hear that. And that's why I got them at number 2, because they're defending champs. But everybody's going to be chasing these two teams. And I cannot wait to hear people talking about, oh, the Caitlin Clark Fevers, they're going to be doing their thing. I can't wait to hear that. Because when they lose yet again, looking forward to hearing their responses. My Sparks, if we don't make the playoffs, I don't want to see Kelsey Plum back on my team, respectfully. Because this will be the second year now where we acquired her. And to be clear, we traded away not 1 but 2 drafts. We could have had our fam and Dominique Malonga on our team. And instead, or Paige Beckers and our fam on our team. And instead, we get Kelsey Plum and we can't get to the playoffs. Then we trade Rakia Jackson. Somebody on management got to go too. Somebody. Because we lost a little direction. Mystics, I'm curious how y'all do. Y'all got a lot of talent. Mercury, it'll be curious. It'll be very curious. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this year, for the 30th season, we should be seeing a lot of buckets getting, a lot of defense played, a lot of assists made, a lot of coaching changes, a lot of I can't wait to see what happens when there are trades made too. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and tell anyone who's anyone, one, about the WNBA, but two, about my show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. I hope you are all having a good one. Look forward to seeing you all on May 8th. Take care.